I'm going to start with the ridiculous and hopefully move toward the not so ridiculous. And I have to say that poetry seeds were planted in me by my father years ago. I have a book in my hand that's about 100 years old called 101 Famous Poems. And I don't know if I'll have time but to actually share some of those. But if I do, I will. But he planted these seeds of poetry in my heart, and we would share poetry when I was a teenager, and a lot of it would be this old stuff. And I would hear stuff like the poem that was taken off the body of a teacher who was Sergeant Joyce Kilmer, killed in World War I. They found the poem on his body, and there's a little line in there, I don't know the whole poem, but it says, "I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. Poems were made by fools like me, but only God could make a tree." And so he passed that on, but it wasn't until I was in Bible college, and I have a crazy sense of humor, and one day poetry came back to me through a very ridiculous format, and I'm going to share that ridiculous poem with you. But it happened in Bible college. So, some of the seed for thinking about putting my thoughts to verse happened in an environment of relationships that I formed in Bible college. I'll tell you the background of this story. There was a fellow in Bible college who was my best friend in Bible college. His name was Kent Reynolds, and his reach went like a whole hand taller than mine. And we played on opposite intramural basketball teams, and I fouled the daylights out of him, but I never ever got a clean block on him. He was just too tall. He could shoot straight over me, and the only way I could stop him was to hack him. But one day I was in the shower, and I loved to sing in the shower. One day, this mischievous rhyme came into my head where I imagined myself blocking one of his shots. It never happened, but I imagined it. And so it came out as this goofy little rhyme. And so what I did was I put his name in it. But you don't know him. His name was Kent Reynolds. You don't know him. So I wanted to put somebody's name in it that you knew. And I asked my friend Mo. Mo had asked me if I did poetry one time in class, and I said, "Hey, could I put your name in it?" Come on up here, Mo, for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, Muhammad Fall, my friend here. Okay, I just for the record, okay, now put your hand straight up in the air. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Am I going to block this man's shot clean? Probably not. Only way I'm going to stop him is to hack him, and to hack him quick, because he's going to be past me. But he agreed to let me put his name in there. You can have a seat there. He agreed to let me put his name in there, and so here comes the trash talking preacher. Okay. My man Mo Fall was pumping down the court. He was finna slam dunk it, but he had to stop short. 'Cause from another world, like a shotgun blast, here come Gerald, and he was finna swat some trash. Mo was embarrassed. His brain went numb. He was blinking his eyes, saying, "Where you come from?" The shot was rejected, as pretty as you please. Mo's girlfriend was down on her knees, saying, "Please don't block my honey child, 'cause if you do it again, I'm gonna go wild." Gerald looked at her. He knew that she meant it. He only had one life, and he wasn't going to spend it. He hopped off the court and onto the bleacher, and that's when he remembered he was supposed to be a preacher. Mo was hot. He went back to play. He tore up the other team that day. The moral of the story is, if you are the main feature, you better watch out for the trash talking preacher.